it's sort of gross.
Well, that's not how it looks. It's how it works, right? I think there's something the matter with me.
Oh!
It's the arm.
Billy! What's going on?
There's something wrong with the person I used to belong to.
You have this guy's arm. You don't have his personality.
I want you to run my prints. Any past record I had would show up on the printout, right? You put a killer's arm onto my body and you didn't tell me.
That arm can't do anything you don't want it to.
How do you know that?
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron. Is that Michael Jackson, or what was that?
Oh,
Shimon! This week, we'll be discussing the horror classic Body Parts, starring Jeff Fahey and Brad Dourif and others, which you may be familiar with or may not be familiar with. I don't know.
there's literally, besides Crazy Jeff Fahey, who I don't know him personally, but I just frickin' hate him. I frickin' hate him. When was he in something that I liked? I just hate
Body Parts?
I said something I liked.
We'll talk about his lineage. He actually had a few winners mixed in there with the other craziness.
I don't care.
He's dead to you, is what you're saying.
He is dead to me.
That's very upsetting. Had you heard of this movie at all prior to me
It
suggesting it?
seems to me that I've heard of it. And of course, this whole kind of style of horror film, I've seen multiple versions of it.
Yeah. Well, there's
the one where they chop off the murderer's hand and then the hand's moving independently. Remember that one?
Yep. I think, wasn't it called The Hand?
It might have been called The Hand.
Just
That might have been a better choice.
Well, I think there was a movie that was like somebody got the eyes of a killer.
The Eyes of Laura Mars.
It was something like that. It's like you got the eyeballs and angel eyes. It was something like that, where the eyes of a killer, now you can see what the killer sees. I don't know.
The Tears of the Clown.
It was Tears of a Clown. Give us your 30-second synopsis of Body Parts.
All right. So what you have here is a psychiatrist, I'm guessing, who gets into a terrible car accident, and he loses an arm, and they go to his wife because he's of course unconscious. He's in this freakish car accident where he should have lost more than just his arm, as he's been spit out through pre-safety glass windshield, flipped over, crunched up. There should be nothing left but his arm. But
you're telling me.
But anyway, so the doctor comes, hey, we got this new technique. We can graft on another arm. Oh, I don't know. I'm just a woman. I can't make these important decisions. Can we wait till my husband wakes up? Your husband's not going to wake up unless we put this arm on here.
Yep.
So, of course, she gives in, and everything seems okay. Mysteriously, it's better reconstructive surgery than we have right now because he has total feeling.
Yeah.
But then something goes wrong. So basically, we find out that this is the arm of a serial killer because apparently in this is the 80s or something?
This is mid-90s.
Okay. So apparently, in the 90s, you were allowed to kill criminals by cutting their heads off and parting them out. I mean, this is where private prisons are going, I'm telling you.
That's
parts is parts, man. And
that's why we need criminal justice reform. You can't just take a bone saw and decapitate a prisoner at the table.
It takes all kinds of critters to make Barbara Vincent's fritters. That's what happens with the leftovers. You feed them back to the prisoners, and then it's Soylent Green.
Yep.
But I digress. So basically, he gets some kind of crazy... he gets the thoughts of the murderer. He ends up tracking down people who got some of the other parts. The dude with the legs, sometimes for no apparent reason, his legs want to kill him by putting him, having him have a car accident.
They're Jimmy legs. Jimmy legs.
He got the Jimmy legs, but only when it's a possible death situation.
Yes.
And then the guy who got the best deal got like the left arm, and now he's like a prodigy. Before he was painting pictures for the Ramada Inn.
Yep.
Now he's like, I sold $250,000 in a month. He's like, I don't give a damn.
Right.
But only our star, Mr. Fahey, is haunted by the images. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. It turns out that this is some concoction that the doctor has cooked up that makes no effing sense. She saved the prisoner's head, grafted it on another body.
Yeah.
So the dude's running around, but now he wants to go get his old parts back and put it all together.
He's sentimental.
It seems to me that you got a head transplant and nobody would know any better, and you could have lived your life.
Right.
So anyway, everybody dead except for Jeff Fahey. Happy ending in the end.
I'll tell you what. I saw this movie in the 90s. I don't remember under what circumstances, I'm sad to say.
I'm sure it was with your friend Crazy Will and a couple of the other knuckleheads from back in the day.
Of that there can be no doubt. But it's like it starts off in kind of a fun way, I think. You know what I mean? There's a lot there's a lot to like. In the final 20 minutes is when you're like, this makes no effing sense.
This makes no effing sense.
It goes right off the rails.
Quite frankly, it makes no sense that the lady who plays the doctor is even in this, since she is has awards and Academy Award, the British Academy Awards left and right. So.
Oh yes. Well, she got to pay her bills too.
I guess so, man. She thought this was gonna be her big America breakthrough.
She was mistaken.
The curse of Jeff Fahey. That's it. Brought her down.
Poor Jeff Fahey. Oh, sweet Jesus.
It made no freaking sense. Yeah, you got a head, you got a whole body.
Right.
Let it be. And then try to make it seem like, it's for science. Okay, you grafted a head. We already know you can graft a finger, a leg, whatever. You successfully grafted a head. Let it be. And then was there some sexual thing going on? I couldn't even figure that out. And how would she even know this dude?
It's okay. But let's just jump right in. It's what you said is all correct. Essentially, there was a serial killer named Charlie Fletcher who they caught, and Agatha Webb is this doctor who's perfected this transplant technique, right? Jeff Fahey gets the right arm.
She would have won the freaking Nobel Prize if you're snapping heads off like Legos and snap them on another body.
Absolutely. I mean, and like you said, in the operating room, Jeff Fahey's like kind of awake, even though his arm is like totally just a bloody stump. Mm-hmm. And in the operating room, they take a saw and literally chop off the serial killer's head. Right then and there. You don't see it, thankfully. But it's like, this doesn't seem like the way that we're doing this, but who knows?
And there's 900 officers with guns all around the table. Yeah.
Right, with shotguns, as if he's going to jump up from the table. But, okay, so the moment his head's chopped off, they snap his fingers, all the cops leave, right? He's got his arm attached, and this looks like it was a shark attack. Essentially, the scars on it are so jacked.
It makes no sense. I'm like, they're just random lines all over. Wouldn't it just be the part where you attach the shoulder? It'd be the shoulder, right? I mean, what did he lose? Half his sternum? Did he lose half his chest? Was it in fact a shark attack? What's happening?
It's literally whenever they show the scars, it is gruesome. They are the worst burn victims. He was in a burning building. What happened? Why are they so scarred up?
Yeah. And his back's all scarred. Yeah,
it is.
It goes halfway across like the wing, all the way to like the center of his back. The back looks like it's burnt. So yeah. So scientifically speaking, make no damn sense.
So after he gets it, immediately he's having horrific nightmares of all the victims that the serial killer killed. But he's got his arms going kind of crazy, right? But it's also affecting like his personality. Like he's playing wrestle with his son, and he just decks his 5-year-old son or whatever.
Yeah, because it's not like the hand is working independently.
No,
it's like he's read about who he figures out who this dude is, and then he's like becoming that dude.
Well, and it's funny because he's a psychiatrist. I guess he's constantly writing in his journal: "Is evil in the flesh? Is evil in the blood?"
I'm telling you, I was a psych major, and the craziest effing people are all the ones who want to be psychiatrists and counselors.
Of that, you knew Jeff Fahey was nuts just from his hairstyle. I don't know what that look was. It's literally a helmet of hair.
Oh my God!
This is 91. That was never in fashion.
That was never. You know
Never
what
in
it was?
fashion.
It was Sally Fields in what's the movie with Julia Roberts? Steel Magnolias. He had Sally Fields, Steel Magnolia, helmet hair. That's what he had rocking.
He had Doris Day and Pillow Talk is what he had. It was the
If
craziest.
Doris was a brunette, yeah.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Anywho, but it's like his hand, so he's like strangling his wife when he sleeps, like the hand comes over. It's a whole situation. His wife thinks he's
couldn't
nuts.
make up his mind. And why does nobody else have all this crazy crap?
So this is the thing. Because he's having these issues, he's going like, whose arm is this? And that's when he discovers this is the serial killer, Charlie Fletcher. But he also discovers, oh, other people got the limbs. And at this point, I think is when it starts to get going a little bit. The best is he goes and visits the painter, a guy named Remo Lacey.
Oh my God. And this dude's in everything. He always
This is
plays a
Brad-
wackadoo.
Brad Dourif. We're going to talk about his list of
Illustrious
things.
career.
You're going to be shocked at the things I tell you about Brad Dourif. Maybe not. I don't know.
He's been in everything.
He's been in a ton of
and
hardest
while-
working man in show business.
While I also don't like him, I like him better than... And when I say I don't like that, I'm not saying that they're bad actors or what. There's just something visceral.
that could be it.
Oh, I know what. He was an officer and a gentleman. Wasn't he? The
I don't know
painter.
No. He was okay. We can just jump in right. His first big break was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Ah, yes!
That was the big one.
Yes.
But about
My
this
God,
time,
how old is he?
that's what I'm saying. About this time, he was in Child's Play. He's the voice of Chucky in all those movies.
He kind of looks like Chucky.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that. He
All
was in
right, we'll get back to
Exorcist
them.
3. He was in all sorts of things.
Who was the dude in Officer and a Gentleman with Richard Gere?
The guy who kills himself?
Yeah.
That was
Oh, no,
David Keith.
Yeah,
Not to be confused with Keith David.
and Sebastian Cabot? No.
That's
No, never mind. I have a perfect vision of his face right now. No,
yeah,
it's not
totally
that.
different dude.
All right.
So he goes and visits the painter. This is one of my favorite scenes. Where literally
Yeah,
the guy's
yeah.
like, what do you want? And he's like, well, we both got arms from the same guy. And his
He's like,
response
I
is,
don't give a damn.
well, first he says, so you want to arm wrestle? But so it's like, he's, like you said, he was a hack painter, painting like seascapes and things. Now he paints all these like horrible images,
Yeah.
which of course matches the nightmares the guy's been having. And he's just like, oh, that's when he killed 5 police officers. That's when he broke a woman's neck. Blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, I've made $250,000 in 3 weeks. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I don't give a.
I don't give it. But you're right.
He's like, you're going to tell me where inspiration comes from? F
Right.
off. Get out. Don't let
Right.
the door hit you in the A.
He says everybody's an art critic.
Yeah.
So yeah, but he seemingly has no ill effects at all. He's just like, I'm good to go.
Yeah. He's
Later-
the best. He should have just steered clear of these nuts and locked his damn damn studio. How about that?
Exactly. We're going to talk about that.
You
'cause
got
you're right.
$250,000 and put a deadbolt on some shit.
So then he meets the guy with the legs. Like
Oh my
some
God.
guy got
Oh.
both the legs of the serial killer.
And if you have an amputation, you go mid-thigh? Wouldn't you go to the joint like you're deboning a chicken? Am I crazy?
Well, and they said he lost his legs 3 years ago. So what did they do? Go in there and just start chopping away at what was left? 3 years later? It's like, I know this is partially healed, but we're going back in. I'm not sure how it works. I'm not a surgeon.
Yeah, that just because they wanted to do this close-up. He had like booty shorts or something,
Yep.
so you could look up his pant leg and see the scar. It
The
was
horrible burn
nasty.
scars again.
It looked like a combination of the worst stretch marks and a fire combined.
The worst stretch marks. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. But that's the thing. It's like, I don't know what kind of athlete the serial killer was, but now it's like suddenly the dude's like dunking like Julius Irving out there. It was like, what is happening?
Why
His
did
legs
this guy
are so
ever get
strong.
caught? If he
Right.
is, if he's the freaking dude from what was that terrible serial killer where he could change his body and stuff? Oh, I hated that. Split. If he's the dude from Split, how's he even getting caught? He's like half a superhero. He should have just flown away.
Right. This guy just got these new legs attached. So much so his buddy's like, are you sure you're up for this? 5 seconds later, he's doing like windmill tomahawk jams.
Is that karate chops? No, I mean,
I guess he's doing okay. But again, he's got that Jimmy leg thing. Or he almost gets into a car accident. Jeff Fahey's there, and he says, hey, I've been following you, which is not a thing you want to say to a stranger.
no.
And he says, hey, are you having any problems with the legs? He's like, hey, man, I was in a wheelchair with no legs for 3 years.
I ain't got no problems now.
I'm good. Even if it's a little Jimmy every now and again, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. But you're right. Later in the movie, Jeff Fahey's the ultimate downer. His wife's now kicked him out for all of his stuff. And he's like, he's like writing in his journal again. He's like, one of the issues with violence comes with the loneliness as well. I need to hang out with people who are going through the same things. So he's like at a bar. I know. He's at the bar with those two dudes again. And you keep wondering, why would you go and meet this guy for drinks?
I think we're seeing the real Mr. Oh my God, I can't even. I'm blanking out. I got overly stimulated. the real Mr. Fahey sitting alone, some shitty bar in a bad part of LA. Is it autobiographical?
It's a little bit autobiographical. So up to this point, it's now like, okay, Jeff Fahey, you got a little bit of a Jimmy arm. You're having some nightmares. Everything's cool. But then it turns. Because now...
It's kind of a Jimmy murder arm.
Because now there's murders are occurring. Remo Lacey, the painter, is murdered at his studio. Literally gets the arm ripped out of his socket.
It's like pulling the wing off a rotisserie chicken is what it comes down to when he's coming back to recollect.
Which none of this makes any sense. Like literally, they're sending the serial killers back with his head grafted on a new body, going back to get his old leg.
It makes no damn sense.
This is where it makes no sense. First of all,
okay, when you're done, I'm going to tell you my favorite part.
First of all, you would think like, okay, if for whatever reason I want my original limbs back, fine. You bop the guy and take him to the operating room. You don't just rip his arm off. That doesn't seem very good. Like it would be
It's not hygienic. Even Lorena Bobbitt, when they found her husband's wingle wangle, they packed it in some ice.
Right.
You don't throw in the trunk of your hot car. Drive around for a while with it.
There's that scene later where the killer gets into a car accident, his car bursts into flames. He's just like juggling all these bloody limbs as he's staggering away. Oh, sweet Jesus.
No,
Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, that's my favorite part. So at the end, oh my God. Well, first of all, you have the part where he comes up, and I didn't even know who the hell this dude was. I totally didn't recognize him from the one picture they showed 1,000 years ago. Handcuffs him to the arm. Why didn't Jeff Fahey just crawl into his car is what I couldn't figure out.
Okay, well, let's set this stage. So he's sitting in the passenger side of a police car with the detective that caught the serial killer however long ago.
Right, because the painter just fell off the window dead, minus an arm.
The painter's dead. The basketball player is dead, missing their limbs. The serial killer, wearing like a neck brace, pulls up right next to Jeff Fahey, reaches across and handcuffs his hand to Jeff Fahey's hand, basically. And now they decide to start driving. So they're driving through town.
And they're pacing it. All he had to do is turn his wheel to the other direction. You know, how do you do that? It's not possible. And the odds are just as good that you're going to get your arm ripped off as much as Fahey's getting his arm ripped off.
Right. Is that I mean, I have to tell you, this is a great scene. I like this scene a lot, but it was
suspenseful. Yeah, it was very the only way around this is if you crawl into the car with the killer.
Well, he kind of reaches across and punches the guy in the head a couple times. And he says,
Trying
like,
to make his head fall off.
I guess. And he's literally at one point, he goes, shoot him. Shoot him. He goes, no, wait, don't shoot him. Don't shoot him. Because you're right. It's like, what is the plan? Literally, again, somebody's arm getting torn out of the socket? Is that how we want these limbs to be reattached, just shredded? Oh.
And in the end, if you could just shoot through the handcuffs, why didn't you just do that? Like 2 minutes in.
Yes, this is a good question.
Anyway, he finally shoots through it. The dude crashes, catches on fire. So the serial killer is collecting. He's got like two old floppy bloody legs in the back of the car. There's an arm rolling around on the dashboard.
On the dashboard.
And so he's gathering them all up like you've got like 3 beach towels. You're going to the beach and they're flippity flopping. Then out of nowhere, here comes the nurse with a blanket and wraps him up like it's her baby, like she's going to pick him up.
That's Dr. Webb. That's the grand reveal. That it's like, because the whole time she's gaslighting him. Right. He's coming to her saying, I'm having these horrible dreams. What can we do? And she's like, see a psychiatrist. And at one point he goes in there and says, I want this arm off. And his immortal quote is, just give me a hook or something.
And why wouldn't she just do that?
She says, I will see you committed to a mental institution before I let you do this.
She knows what's going to happen.
Right.
And wouldn't that have been easier? She knows the dude is collecting his parts back. Why didn't you just take it off now? I mean, it seems like these were just in a holding pattern until he can come and collect them. So why didn't you just take it off then?
Right. So this
and what hook would there have been? I guess you'd have the full arm.
It would have to be a full fake arm, I guess.
I
But
had a vision that there was a hook coming out of his shoulder.
that wouldn't have been very effective, to say the least.
Not, you could hang a coat from a coat hanger from it, but yeah, I guess that wouldn't work very well.
So the grand reveal is the doctor is in on this in some way. Basically, her plan now, because she's got like this giant fish tank with like the killer's torso flopping around in there.
And why is it seizuring up in there? Just to let you know?
Just kind of moving around, doing a little dance. And the limbs that he's already gotten are now floating in there as well.
Right.
So the reveal is she's going to take the limb off of Jeff Fahey. And she says, okay, I'll take your limb now, basically. And I guess she's going to put the killer back together. Because the thing she says is like, the reason why this is important is because now we've learned to transplant the human head. Before it was just the limbs, now we have gone the next level. But there's a missing something here. There needs to be, she's like, and the serial killer Charlie Fletcher was my nephew. There has to be some reason why she wants the serial killer put back together.
It's her son with his original part. You figure... You got the head.
Right.
In a new, better body with different fingerprints. Right. I mean, she's already transplanted the serial killer's head on a new body, which seems to do all right. I mean, he's ripping people's limbs out of the socket. He's driving around. I don't know how you drive with a head brace. You can't look left or right. So what are you doing?
It's not easy. But for some reason, she wants to put him back together again. But there's no justification for why she wants to do that. Why is she invested in putting the serial killer back together? That's where it all kind of falls apart.
And why did it have to be a serial killer? Don't people go to the hospital all the time?
Who knows what's going on? Because it was like, you're right. She should be getting the Nobel Prize for figuring out a way to transplant these limbs. And you think the press is going to put 2 and 2 together if all 3 people who received the limbs have been horribly murdered and their limbs taken away.
I mean, for God's sakes, kids die every 5 minutes. You just need to find one where the head got run over and one where the body got crushed, and you do the old switcheroo.
This is a lovely story. I think you were suggesting put a little like baby arm on him or something. I don't know.
Well, they could put it. That would be really creepy, like a little baby arm.
Oh, sweet Jesus! So
that would be like if David Lynch had directed this.
Yes, Jeff Fahey foils the problems. Everything's fine, and now his arm is just an arm. So that's how it ends. Good times. Sweet Jesus. Any other highlights you want to talk about from this movie?
While you were rambling on, I'm simply Googling Murderer Hands movie. So we got Idle Hands.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
The Hand.
Yep.
Oliver Stone.
Yeah, Michael Caine, I believe, right?
Oh, what's Fists of Fear? Severed Hands in Film. Ranked. Oh, God bless the internet. How did we figure this stuff out before that? Oh, my Lord. Well, of course, there's The Hand from the Addams Family.
That was...
and now the Screaming starts. I remember that one. And now the Screaming starts.
There's a lot of screaming, evidently.
Patrick McGee.
That's
McGee?
a different person.
Oh, well, I saw Patrick McNee in Palm Springs once.
He lives there. Absolutely.
Well, I don't know if he's still living. The Devil's Hand. The Beast with 5 Fingers. Of course, Evil Dead 2.
The Beast with 2 Backs.
Hey. Let's not bring into your personal collection.
That's a different movie.
All right, so that's my Murderer Hands. I remember something from the 70s, so that must be... What was that? It must be Now the Screaming Starts, I think.
Let's go right to behind the scenes, but frankly, I don't have much. I got a couple things here.
It's mostly who did what.
Right. Well, the advertisements for this movie were canceled in Wisconsin when the movie came out. Do you know why?
All right.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is the key word.
In the early 90s.
Wisconsin, early 90s. I got nothing.
Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer just went down. Yeah, so they were like, even though, I mean, there's a serial killer, I guess, and there's dismemberment, so I guess that's as close as it needs to be. They said, we'll take a hard pass on that. The plot of this movie is very similar to a 1971 episode of Night Gallery.
Oh, remember Night Gallery? That was always too scary for me. There was Twilight Zone, which was cool. Night Gallery was at night, and it was much too scary.
I've been watching Twilight Zone with the girls. They're into it. They love it.
Why wouldn't you be?
It's a classic. Mm-hmm. The name of the episode was The Hand of Borgus Weems, if you want to go check that out. I don't know if it's on Hulu.
Maybe that's the one I saw.
And this was a very, very, very loose adaptation of a French novel, which sold very well in English translation over 25 years previously. So you got to go check out the French novel.
What is the French novel's name?
I guess Le Bon Départ?
Le Bonnie?
It doesn't say. So there you go. That's about all the research I'm willing to do on this.
Do I just Google the French novel?
Just Google the French novel. You really have to read Body Parts in the original French to get the full impact.
I think the problem is we didn't watch it in the original. I think Truffaut did it, didn't he?
Yeah, it was.
Wait.
The French New Wave, exactly. Let's go to the cast. We talked about Jeff Fahey. This is a Jeff Fahey vehicle, so you got to appreciate that. Jeff Fahey, you remember him? He was in The Lawnmower Man in 1993.
Why would anyone make that into a movie?
They didn't. They just took the title of the short story.
Because I read the short story, and then that could only exist as a short story because it's so ridiculous.
It's a freak show. Jeff Fahey is a part of the Meg Foster Crazily Blue Eye Club.
Are you ready?
Yes.
J'ai perdu mon corps.
Is that Body Parts in French?
I lost my body.
I lost my body. There it is. Not I gained an arm.
Not I gained a murderer's arm.
That's what they should have said. First thing I saw him in, he was one of the villains in Silverado, which is that Western in the mid-'80s.
I'm not watching that shit.
If you ever saw Silverado, he was the guy with the freakishly blue eyes. You can't miss him.
No. It's the blue eyes and it's the lips.
Yes.
That's what it is.
In the 90s, it was the crazy hair. Because he had the same hairstyle in Lawnmower Man. He insisted on it, evidently.
It was his signature style.
It was a signature style. More recently, he was Frank Lapidus on Lost.
I never saw a single episode of Lost.
Lost was great at first. But the moment you realized they were not going to answer the questions, the riddles, That's when it goes off the rails.
Yeah, that's when they get the dirty finger from me.
Well, because by the final episode, they're like, it's not really about the mystery. It's about the relationships we made along the way. And it's just like,
You're
that's not
wrong.
why I watched it.
Exactly. No, it's not.
No, it's not at all. He was in, of course, Planet Terror. We discussed that earlier. He owns the
not
Bone
Planet
Shack.
Terror.
He's the barbecue specialist of the Bone Shack.
Oh, you're right. Well,
Yep.
actually, I didn't hate him in that.
He was great in that.
I did not hate him in that.
He was great in
William,
that. And
I'm freaking recording. Why are you over here whispering things at me? What? Yes, I'm going to eat the watermelon. Get out of here. Keep that in. That's solid gold.
that's staying in. And he was in Machete.
All right.
Machete.
All right. I didn't hate him in Machete.
So it's an all-star cast.
You're right.
Give or
You're
take.
right. I take it back. Perhaps I was too harsh. But he has the weird lips like Tom Berenger. They both have those kind of strange lips that freak me out.
There's all sorts of things going on. Lindsay Duncan, who played Dr. Agatha Webb, was in Birdman or The Unexpected Virtue of Blaise Blase.
Blaise Blase. But she was in Les Liaisons Dangereuses. She's been on everything. She is
Big
like
star.
She's got the same British awards as like Judi Dench. She's real, man. She's real.
She was in About Time, Under the Tuscan Sun.
I saw Under the Tuscan Sun. Yeah. She was fantastic in that.
You're right. She won a BAFTA for Best Actress in Perfect Strangers.
That is the British Academy Award.
Oh, these are nominations. Let me go to the winners. She was Best Actress of the International Short Film Festival. What the? Get out of here. What's going on here? Is this a win or a loss? Nominee. Best Actress in the Bratislava International Film. What? Okay.
All right. Give me her name.
Wait a minute. Here we go.
You don't know how Google works.
Here we go. British Independent Film Awards.
Oh,
she won Best Actress. Hey, Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, Best Supporting Actress nominee.
For this damn thing.
For Body Parts, baby. That's it. So she's very well.
I don't trust you.
Very sad.
I'm going right to the goddamn Google.
Okay, while you do that, I'm talking about other people. Go ahead.
I want you to know I have barely said at all during this whole thing.
You have, and I appreciate it up until now.
Oh, she was in Rome. Did you watch Rome?
I did not watch Rome.
Currently, she's in A Discovery of Witches, which is on right this very second. Rome was really good. I can't believe that you never saw Rome.
Yeah. Is it on Stars or something? What channel?
I think it was HBO.
Oh, well, might have to check it out. We'll see. I'm not getting Cinemax or Showtime.
She was in The Leftovers. She was in Traffic. Let me go. This is all deeply British.
Yeah.
It's all PBS. Riley, Ace of Spies. I'm sure our parents would know all of this.
It's all on the Acorn channel.
It is all on BritBox, the Acorn channel.
Let's see.
I think there was some more stuff. But yeah, she's working right this bloody... She's 69 years old, and right now she's on A Discovery of Witches.
His wife, Karen, was played by Kim Delaney.
Oh, she's such a fake Courtney Cox in this.
She is most famous for... She was on NYPD Blue. She was on CSI Miami for a season. All My Children, Army Wives.
Yeah,
she's kind of like, I think I've seen her in something, but she's by no means like, oh, I got to check out the movie that she's in.
Yeah, all the stuff I Googled about her said she had a taste for the liquor. I'm going back to Lindsay Duncan for just two more.
Wrap it up. There's only so much Lindsay Duncan talk I can take.
Shout out. Doctor Who. And
cool.
Did you ever watch Sherlock?
I watched both.
She was in Sherlock also. So that makes her real to me because I freaking love... What they call that? A cumber bitch or whatever?
We all like
Benedict
Cumberbatch.
We all love that. All right, go back to the rest of these people.
Detective Sawchuk, who was the homicide detective, is played by a South African actor named, I'm going to butcher his name, Zakis Mokei. He is famous.
It sounds like something Malarkus.
He was famous for, he was in Waterworld, and he was the villain in Serpent and the Rainbow. He was in Outbreak.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one. I read the book. The book is not as good as the movie.
Well,
and that's the tragedy.
The book I thought was like a nonfiction book. Am I wrong?
Yeah, the problem with the book is it was freaking technical. It was a little too boring.
Right. And then, of course, I want to talk about Remo Lacey, played by Brad Dourif. He, of course, was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yep.
He was in Lord of the Rings as Grima Wormtongue. He was in a bunch of those things.
What a freaking name.
He did it. He was in Dune, Alien Resurrection. I told you he was the voice of Chucky, and he actually was in Child's Play, the first one, as himself, like a voodoo guy. He is great. He is great. That's all I'm going to say.
I have never seen Dune, and I'm a big fan of David Lynch. Have you ever seen Dune?
I've seen it. I've seen it. It's basically alien weirdness with little blue velvet and then just a lot of like gross pustules. So if you like that stuff, this is the movie for you. So
I
check
was
it out.
watching a Q&A the other day with David Lynch because do you know David Lynch has a daily weather report from Los Angeles?
I think I knew
literally
that.
looking out the window. So anyway, the
That's
other day
helpful.
it was a Q&A and someone asked about anything they regretted. He regrets Dune.
I don't blame him.
I have never seen it. I've never seen it. I used to always think old Kyle was a cutie patootie, except he was kind of creepy in Sex and the City. But yeah, that was always on my list. But I always was. There's like people who love it.
Yep.
But that I've also heard a lot of negative things. So, all right. I mean, if David Lynch no likey, that's not selling it hard.
No, it isn't. Let's go to our personal ratings. Are you ready?
All right.
Let me just tell you this. It received a 41% rotten from Rotten Tomatoes. Sounds bad until you look at the audience score is 33%. So I think they're mad. They're insano. This movie is a lot of fun. That's all I'm going to say.
I am going to give it, this time my rating will be, the higher the number, the worse it is. So I'm going to give it 4 bags of horse shit out of 5.
So 4
because
bags of horse shit.
I couldn't give it 2 bags of horse shit because that's not enough horse shit. So I had to flip the scale. So, I mean, it's not Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, Jesus.
So, which I'm going to keep bringing up, Skillet. So it is 4 bags of horseshit out of 5.
Lovely. I gave it 6 out of 7 severed limbs. I thought this is a fun movie. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Literally wrote nothing down. I mean, like
you were so engrossed in it. I understand. You just let it wash over you.
Reason. I washed over. I couldn't tear my eyes from the screen. It is. I can't describe it. I can't describe it. I will never watch it again. But I wasn't offended by it. I was not offended by it. If I'm flipping the dial and I see that it's coming on, I'm like, William, remember that shitty movie that Kevin made me watch? It's on right now. And then I'll flip by. That's all I thought I will give to this movie.
I am morally outraged. That's all I'm going to say. I think it's fun. I think it's fun. I think it's incoherent.
It is incoherent. I think maybe you need to take a drug or some CBD or a drink or something, and then suddenly it'll make perfect sense.
I think you may be right. So there you have it. Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Email us at thepodcastthatwouldn't_die@gmail.com. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc., etc. Aaron, you have a Twitter account. What's the word?
I have one more thing to say about Lindsay Duncan. I believe she was in both of the Alice in Wonderland movies.
Lovely. You mean the Tim Burton ones?
The Tim Burton ones.
Okay.
Yes, I've just confirmed that.
Another reason to avoid those movies.
Hey, settle down, friend. I want to say she has the dead eyes of that lady that was in Creepshow, but that one would be much older.
Which
anyway,
woman from Wait a minute. Which woman from Creepshow has the dead eyes?
Where's my cake,
Oh,
Magnolia?
gotcha. Yeah. I agree. It's a
Bring
British
me my
thing.
Father's Day cake. Yeah, British women with blonde hair way past their time that their hair should still be blonde.
That's the style.
I am the Cult of Aaron on Twitter, and I'm still trying to come up with a theme song. Everybody's out there trying to come up with our new theme song. So we're not stealing the one that Lore uses. You ever watch Lore?
No.
Oh, it's a creepy podcast. You might like it.
I'll have to check it out.
But the Cult of Aaron, and if anybody wants to record a fun theme song for us, get on it.
Get on it. So thank you very much and be well.
Rock on, Brother Bears. Wear a mask. Numbers are rising. Don't be a dick.